Now, if you are new to the channel, some idiot came up with an idea for a bath shower, and ever since I had that idea, it's been a bit of a nightmare. It is not only 10 times more complicated than, say, installing a shower tray or a normal bath, but in fact, it is becoming even more expensive. There is a lot more materials needed and a lot more time invested in building this bath, but I do think the end result will be incredible, so I'm not giving up on it. I'm going to keep going until this is done, and I will share with you every single step and any mistakes that I made, so that you can therefore not make these mistakes if you decide to install a lowered bath shower area, which is very difficult to do in a normal property situation because, well, you can't do this if you live in a flat because you'll be digging down into the flat below you, so you can't do that there. And most often in England, all the bathrooms in a house are on the first floor, and therefore you most likely have a normal floor structure, and realistically the only types of houses that could do this lowered bath structure is if you're creating a house from scratch. Jacko board is tile backer board. Tile backer board is what your tile adhesive goes onto, and then your tiles are then pressed onto that tile adhesive, and that is what forms a shower wall. Now, tile backer board is constructed of some sort of foam with a sort of cement type layer to it, and you can get away in certain areas of just using normal cement board. However, in areas that are in direct contact with water, you need it to be really tile backer board that is then waterproofed, so it is fully water repellent. Now, Jacko board comes in different sizes. You've got 4mm, 6mm, 10mm, all the way up to 60mm tile backer board, meaning that this board is 6 centimeters deep. It's a proper chunk. I did not realize that you could get 6 centimeter tile backer board. So therefore, my idea of enclosing this bath area with plywood and then normal tile backer board, I can actually in theory replace the plywood and then just add Jacko board. But I am not going to do that because there is something about it which I just don't like with that way of doing things. It sounds a bit stupid because I know I just said that you can do that, but my idea is to use this marine grade plywood that I've got as sort of a shell surround and then add Jacko board on top of it. I think I will go for a slightly thicker tile backer board, and therefore that is going to act as a thermal insulator. It's going to mean that the hot water within the bath is going to stay hot for longer, and then also it acts as a water repellent. And if you are concerned about how to waterproof a bath area, it's actually surprisingly simple, and a bath is basically a super wet room, and therefore I'm going to be doing like 3 layers of waterproofing just to make sure nothing goes wrong. Now, the only issue with this is there is a price you have to pay for your choice of thickness. For a board that is 4mm, you're paying like 7 quid. In comparison to 60mm, you're paying around 20 quid. The thicker the insulation, the more thermally insulating, and therefore for the bath area, I really want it to be super thick, and therefore it holds all of the heat within the bath. Now, the challenge is, remember, I've got to ensure that the side of the bath is perfectly in line with the walls of the shower, and then it goes up and meets with the skylight. I honestly don't get why I make things 10 times more difficult for myself, but I know the end result of this is going to look insane. I can just see it. And I hope this gives you lot some inspiration for maybe your own home doing something that is a bit out of the ordinary and just sending it and seeing what happens, because yes, I've got a fair bit of experience, but as you can see, I still mess things up. Remember, I made a video saying how I normally mess up stud walls, and then in the next video after that, I messed up the stud wall. I did exactly what I said not to do in the video prior. It is normal to make mistakes, and if you treat life like school and you're worrying about failing, well then every day is going to feel like an exam day, and they are the worst days ever. You've got all of the stress and worry about it, and you've got one attempt. And then this is the other thing that I despise about the school system, is life is a collaboration, people working together. Any successful business is usually a group of individuals working together to tackle difficult problems. Yet at school, you have to sit down, shut up, don't talk to the person next to you, and you can't be seen cheating on any exams. And to become successful in life, you basically have to do the exact opposite. If I just look at the most recent 24 hours of the people that I've spoken to 3 developers, an accountant, and that accountant isn't my accountant, it's just a friend of mine, someone who works in a private equity firm, and some of the stuff going on in the world at the moment is really interesting. I might write some of that stuff in this week's newsletter. If you haven't already, Google Have Some Vision Substack. You will not regret it. It is honestly the most valuable resource that I've ever created. And I am explaining everything from developing, starting your own business, how I was able to leave a day job that I hated. And I am perfectly explaining to you a side hustle that I did whilst being sat at my day job. It is literally pure transfer of knowledge. It is everything I have learnt over the last 10 years, and I'm putting it all into this newsletter. So click the link in the description or Google Have Some Vision Substack and sign up and just start. But back to what I was saying about the people that I've spoken to in the last 24 hours. We all just give advice and suggestions on each other's problems or situations that are going on, because life is just a collaboration. You work together, and as soon as you reach that realization that your friend's success has zero impact on your life, meaning the fact that some of my friends earn way more money than me, that doesn't mean there's less money in the world for me to make. Instead of feeling jealous and envious, you should celebrate that person's success and maybe gain some inspiration from it, going, oh, I know how hard that person has worked to create that situation. That's inspirational. Maybe I can apply some of that work ethic to my own life and I can one day get to that situation. I've said it 1,000,001 times, but do not compare your day one of walking to someone who started walking 10 years before you and then somehow get surprised when you don't have the same view that they have. Don't let any more time pass, just start your journey. And if you never give up, you really cannot ever fail. You can pivot. Pivoting is key. I will always remember one of my friends saying it to me, which his business, which now is extremely successful, it wasn't earning very much money at all. And during like a 2-hour phone call, he said, the thing is, I will never give up on this idea, but I am prepared to pivot on it, meaning I slightly change the direction that you're going because you might be going down a slightly wrong path. And you've also got to realise that you only know if it's the wrong path if you start going down it. And you might think, Chris, you're just building a tiny house, you're building a bath, it's not all that. Well, my friend, it's a little bit more than that. What I am doing right now, I got told to me was categorically impossible that I'd ever achieve it. I'd never be able to buy a house in London. Because do you know how expensive houses are in London? I think you need to be a bit more realistic. Yeah, you see, Chris, I just don't think you're going to be able to get a job in finance because you don't have the qualifications. And I mean, you've just gone back a year at school because you got U's and everything. And then when I redid that year for the second time, I got E's, which is progression, but it's still awful. I still had teachers and everyone around me saying, Chris, you're not naturally good at maths. You shouldn't do that as an A-level. But I kept saying to myself, if I can just get a maths A-level, it will impress people in finance. They'll go, wait, this person has managed to do a difficult subject. He might not have the best grade in it, but it will provide enough evidence to go, wait, he struggled with something and he never gave up on it and he turned that U into a better grade. And when I redid that year for the third time, I got a B. So remember, U, E, and then a B. When I got a U, I had people telling me that the reason I wasn't doing well in it was because subjects like maths, you need to be naturally good at them. Some people just have their brain switched on in a certain way. That is what every teacher and everyone said to me. When I got a B in that subject, all of the teachers and everyone around me said, some people's brains are just naturally set up for subjects like maths. And I would say to them, 2 years ago, you said the complete opposite to me. And now you're saying because I've done well in it, that I'm somehow naturally gifted in something, and that's how I managed to do it. But the bottom line is me getting a U in those subjects was because I was doing absolutely all. I was investing 90% more time going to the gym and going to the skate park than being at school. The reason why, school is boring, everything else is fun. Therefore, I'm going to invest more time in the things that are fun, and that resulted in me getting a U. When I actually applied myself at school and I isolated myself from all the people that I used to hang out with, I started to progress. And when I isolated myself from everyone and I just revised non-stop for that final year, the third attempt of doing my A-levels, it was almost like a light bulb moment where I went, oh, I can achieve anything as long as I invest enough time in it. You've just got to keep working towards whatever dream you have, no matter how stupid it is. Because if you stop, the progress stops. That's just the one fact in life. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like it, subscribe if you're new. Google Have Some Vision Substack. You will not regret it. Trust me. And as always, I will see you tomorrow.